What's up, YouTube? Robert the Monster Among Marks Drap here, and tonight I'm running solo. We're going to be talking about Shawn Michaels' possible return to the in-ring action and his thoughts behind that. We're going to be talking about Ronda Rousey's possible plans along with The Shield and WrestleMania 35, and what did AJ Lee have to be doing with WWE? All this and much, much more tonight. But before we get started, I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, all those wonderful things down below. We're going to be talking about a bunch more stuff tonight because I'm unhinged. I'm off the chain. Notice I don't have my headphones on because unfortunately tonight I am running solo without my tag team partner. I got to run it twice as hard to pick up the slack for such an amazing person backing me up. So let's go on ahead and lead off with the big story. Shawn Michaels talking about coming back, maybe? I would love to see that, and really, if the man's got more to go, it would be hard pressed to tell him no. Now, this story comes to us courtesy of Philip Murray over at Sportskeeda. I don't exactly know who he is because I don't read a lot of Sportskeeda, but hey, anyway. Apparently, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, has been advertised as part of the upcoming Australian Super Showdown, but it appears that Michael will only wrestle under specific conditions. It's been 8 years since we've had the Heartbreak Kid come down to the ring, and he has refused to step in the ring ever since. He has worked as a special guest referee on a number of matches in the last 8 years, but has never been in the ring, the squared circle, as a competitor once more. It was rumored way back that Michaels would eventually face AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble before Seth Rollins then made it clear that he would be open to facing the future WWE Hall of Famer, but as of yet, he's refused to step inside the ring. HBK recently spoke to Inside the Ropes to set the record straight on his return rumors, where he was able to point out that he would be able to make a return to the ring, but not against someone who was half his age. Quoting Shaun himself, quote, "Getting ready for WrestleMania is 100% work, and I don't know whether I want to put myself or my family through that again and steal the show at 53 for God's sakes," he said via Wrestling Inc. Now that's a whole different ball of wax if someone says, do you want to go down and work with some other 40-plus year old guys or 50 or whatever and mess around and be silly? You know what I mean? That doesn't seem like work to me. Something like that I would consider, but no one ever talks about that. It's always me and someone half my age. Personally, like I said, he's the Heartbreak Kid. I really respect his commitment to the craft of wrestling and the storytelling. He hasn't set foot until inside the ring since his defeat at the hands of The Undertaker 8 years ago at WrestleMania. I don't think he'd do it unless he had the right person. Now, you're talking about facing AJ Styles, and yeah, AJ's around my age. AJ's about 34, 35 right now. So to see Shawn Michaels say no to probably one of the greatest matches on the planet, I don't know. I would actually rather see Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles than probably anything else. But it's going to be hard. If you want to laugh, if you want to have a good hardcore laugh right now, we're coming to I've got a story for you. This is from WrestlingNews.co, courtesy of Bleacher Report. Former WWE star Jack Swagger claims he'd bounce Brock Lesnar's forehead off the mat if they wrestled. I mean, sometimes you just got to do whatever you can to stay relevant, I guess. Let's see here. My internet wants to be fun. Former WWE heavyweight champion turned Bellator MMA heavyweight Jack Swagger recently interviewed on Submission Radio. Swagger discussed why he left WWE, if he'd beat Brock Lesnar in wrestling, if he'd ever need to use his amateur style more inside the WWE ring, and much, much more. Submission Radio sent the following highlights to John Fuentes on why he left WWE. Quote, well, you know, the WWE, it's a dream job, but it's like any other job where there's politics and you got bosses that you have to deal with. And so for me, in the great words of Drizzy Drake, the moment I stop having fun with it, I'm done with it. So I got to the point where, not that I wasn't having fun, because going out there in front of hundreds of fans and wrestling, that's what I'm born to do. But it came to a point where I wasn't there for the same reasons that they were having me there. That completely sounds like creative shoving a boot down his throat and saying you're going to swallow it and you're going to like it. I need to compete. And that's one thing that I take away from leaving WWE, and is I'll never go this long without competing again, because it's a part of who I am. And not when I'm not competing is when I will struggle with things, because I'm not going 100% or focused 100%. So for me, it's a combination of the two things. I needed to change. I needed to be pushed. I needed to be challenged. And also, it was also a great opportunity, a great time to leave. Yeah, I mean, they weren't really ever having great things for him. If Jack ever wrestled Brock Lesnar backstage to find out who the better wrestler was, by compare wrestling techniques, if you mean if by compare wrestling techniques you mean that I can take Brock Lesnar down at will, yes, then we compared wrestling techniques. I could close my eyes and tie one hand behind my back, and I could bounce Brock Lesnar's forehead off the mat if he ever tried to wrestle with me. He laughs. Personally, I look at that as just absolute jaw-jacking. Brock Lesnar isn't that kind of wrestler, and I think he knows that. He doesn't ever have to be that kind of wrestler. And I don't think he ever wants to be. The truth of the matter is I don't believe that Jack Swagger could beat Brock Lesnar. Let's see here. Trying to get my notes for the Shield appearance, but it seems like I've run into the AJ Lee story. So let's go on ahead and talk about that. There's a lot of talk about AJ Lee, courtesy of CageSideSeats.com, reaching out to AJ Lee about a return for Evolution, the former Divas champ being open to the idea. You decide if and they cite a couple different podcasts are worth pinning your hopes on. Personally, I love AJ Lee. I really do. And I think that she's got a lot of talent. And personally, I think that if she wants to come back, everybody should be, kind of open for that thing. And especially if you got to really look at this in some cases, if WWE is willing to make amends, if they are willing to step up and say, we were wrong in the way we treated you, but we don't know. Multiple websites are saying that Kurt Angle's vacation from being Raw GM is actually so he can focus on an in-ring training regimen so he can come back. PW Insider doesn't know if he's going to be a regular or part-time wrestling role, but bodyslam.net says he'll be full-time. Personally, I don't think you want to have the Star Spangled singlet back in there as a full-time addition. It doesn't need to be a thing, but it's definitely an interesting prospect to have him back, at least on a limited basis, and have him wrestling in good storylines. I would love to see it. There was, let's see. Let's go through some more rumors here. Sorry, folks. It's usually, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say it's not something that I'm super super used to doing this by myself anymore, because having somebody to talk to, having a different opinion on certain things would be wonderful things. Let's see here. Apparently, the plan for the New Day, for the Shield, rather, is to get the run that they were initially scheduled to get when they first got back together way, way, way before TLC, and we had Kurt Angle coming out in Shield cosplay, which was a good line from What Culture. Cage Side Seats is reporting that this was always supposed to have been the plan before Roman Reigns got the mumps and Dean Ambrose got injured. So now they're just getting everything back on track. So I think that with this time around, now that they actually have something to do and a little better than they did before, i.e. stop Braun Strowman from cashing in at an inopportune moment, it would definitely work out in their favor to have to fight Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman eventually just cashing in anyway and coming up. There continues to be speculations about Natalya versus Ronda Rousey being the future planned program for the Raw Women's Championship sooner rather than later. Personally, I think it's far too soon. I mean, I'm talking far too soon, since the passing of Jim Neidhart, God rest him, for Natalya to turn heel, and I don't think that Ronda could do it. I don't think that her current stature, her current poise, her current mic skills are such that Ronda Rousey could make a believable heel at the moment. That's not to say she couldn't work on it for the future. I'm just saying that it's not time for her to be there just yet. Speaking of Ronda Rousey, apparently the Observer says it's not a lock that she'll wrestle Charlotte at WrestleMania 35, though it is one of the ideas that the WWE creative is currently considering. The Wrestling Observer also notes that Triple H saying that the Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano match had to be changed because a legitimate injury was storyline, even though he said it was a non-working setting. I'm guessing he's talking about Aleister Black's growing injury, so they had to work that off. I mean, that one we've kind of known for a little while, or that's been the strong rumor for quite a little while. So to hear that saying now, it's just, nothing new. PW Insider reports that WWE recently filed a trademark for ECW, but for clothing purposes. The way I'm looking at it, that little piece of rumor is this. WWE is very much about running certain things into the ground. And to have them come back around and say that they're going to have ECW trademark for clothing purposes, that either means A, they have somebody planned to be that person and to bring that back as a gimmick, or B, they've realized that retro is coming back around, so they're going to go on ahead and they're going to say, hey, let's go ahead and bring that in. personally, it's hard to really nail it down, you know. Let's see here. Braun Strowman calls out Roman Reigns for Raw, dares Roman to leave the Shield backstage. In a tweet sent by the Monster Among Men, quote, "I don't need to surprise you to cash in hashtag Money in the Bank. I promised to do it face to face. Face me in the middle of your yard on Raw, Roman. If you're really a man, you'll come alone. Hashtag Monster in the Bank." Personally, I think that this is just going to yet further fuel storyline for more of the Shield to be together. And I can't wait to see it, you know? It should be at the very least, interesting. Let's see. What else do we have? This is something from today, actually earlier today. WWE comments on the death of WrestleMania 4 celebrity guest Robin Leach. Robin Leach, known to most as the host of the hit 1980s and 90s syndicated shows Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, has died at 76. He suffered a stroke last November and has been hospitalized since. Wrestling fans will remember that at the height of his own popularity in 1988, Leach was a celebrity guest at WrestleMania 4 in Atlantic City. He presented the WWF title before the main event, a tournament finals between Ted DiBiase and Randy Savage for the vacant championship. The company tweeted a farewell, which links to this story on their website, and it reads, this is all courtesy of Cage Side Seats, quote, "WWE saddened to learn that Robin Leach, host of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous and guest star at WrestleMania 4, has passed away. On behalf of everybody here in the mosh pit, we want to send our condolences that way. His voice was one of a kind. I mean, you don't have somebody like that. And I mean, a lot of people kind of took the sound of that, you know, and kind of built off that to build their own commentary styles. I don't think you can trace you can't say a person in the last 10 years didn't. So let's see here. Apparently we didn't need any crystal balls or dirt sheets to know this one was coming. It was announced today that Samoa Joe will once again challenge AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at Hell in the Cell. Based on their feud, which is focused on Joe's psychological targeting of the champ's family, a tactic which led to a disqualification loss at SummerSlam for Styles. The more surprising part of this news is that it doesn't mention the structure which gives next month's show its name, or any stipulation which would ensure a definitive winner in this case. In the case that things get too personal and violent in San Antonio's AT&T Center. There are several weeks to feature escalating attacks, which lead SmackDown General Manager Paige to tack that on, though. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing it in Hell in a Cell. I think it's a logical progression, and at least kind of ties in with the gimmick of the pay-per-view, which I've never been a massive detractor of the hey, let's have a pay-per-view based on one of the matches. I mean, we actually have one of the big five to thank for that. So it can eventually build into something great. But here's the thing. You have to, I don't think that they need, I think that WWE Creative needs to take a long hard look in the mirror, and especially look into their past with WCW and the name, power, and recognition that they had on there. That it just turns into this whole thing where you could be naming things so much more creatively. Like they did a house show called Starcade, and apparently it sold out. You could have Bash at the Beach, Halloween Havoc. You could do any number of different names, and personally, I kind of find that a little better anyway, because WrestleMania is WrestleMania. There's not a WrestleMania stipulation match, and there's not a SummerSlam stipulation match. And while Money in the Bank and Survivor Series more notably, have built themselves with at least those matches in mind, and it works. I mean, they call Money in the Bank one of the big five, because the big four were WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. Now we've added in Money in the Bank, and it works. It's very good. But I think these B-level pay-per-views actually need something other than the gimmick match. Hell, you could have all types of gimmick matches in there. Just kind of blindside us with, hey, I want to put this in Hell in a Cell. Hey, I want to have this be an Extreme Rules match, These kind of things. And let them be extreme, damn it. Let them go out there and do whatever spots they want to do. It would just be so much better. But that's not what we're getting. Currently, what we're getting is lukewarm feuds and gimmick matches. So, but I currently don't have anything else. I mean, I think that's been kind of it, This week we're going to get to see what happens on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT and 205 Live, and kind of see where it goes from there. But I look forward to seeing what you guys have to think. Go ahead, throw the comment down in the comment section below. We try to read those. Don't be afraid to share this around to everybody who's, maybe watching. I do have the chat up because I don't have my tag team partner to kind of watch it for me, so I figured, you know what, I can do that too. I can keep an eye on these things. But again, thank you for watching. We will see you all Tuesday night, and hopefully I'll be joined once again by my tag team partner in that